Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound. Look, up in the sky, it's a bird brain, it's a plane, it's iWalter. Yes, it's iWalter, strange visitor from another planet who came to Earth with powers and abilities far beyond those of mortal men. iWalter, who can change the course of mighty rivers, bend ears with his annoying voice, and who disguised as Walter Interranti, mild-mannered janitor for a great metropolitan newspaper, fights a never-ending battle for truth, nonsense, and the American way. And now, another exciting episode in the adventures of iWalter.
Hey everyone, it's Walter. And I am here. I'm actually trying an experiment because I'm actually got the volume very high. So that could be good or bad. I mean, it could be too loud, which I hope it's not, or it could be actually just right. Today marks, it will be not that any longer. Well, it won't be that day once I'm done doing this podcast. But right now, at this time that I am starting to record my podcast, to me is kind of an important day. And it's an important day for me for two reasons, and probably an important day for others if they know their history for another reason. So what is that, Walter? Well, very simply, today is November 23rd, it's 2019, but on November 23rd, 1963 meant a completely different thing for many people. And I'm going to read what is on Wikipedia first. At 5:15 p.m. on BBC television network, the very first episode of the series Doctor Who was broadcasted with William Hartnell. It was the first actor to portray the title character in a story entitled An Unearthly Child. During the first 50 years of the show run, 13 actors would portray the Doctor, and change of appearance would be explained as an ability of all Time Lords to accomplish regeneration. So that's what it means to me, but it also meant something else, but not necessarily as much for the U.S. because it happened, we knew about it the day before it happened, but 1963 was another very important historical type of situation. The BBC did not hear about it until the following day, but on November 22nd of 1963, Kennedy was shot. It says here, November 22nd of 1963, in the morning, Kennedy delivers his speech at Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce, and he was also shot. So there was a link that actually said, let me see, it says, a fire at the Golden Age nursing home located in Fitchville, Ohio, killed 63. Oh, okay, that's something else. I apologize. So I kind of just lost the tone right there. Didn't intend to. But no, I should go back to the other story because I'm actually confusing myself now. But it was somewhere I was looking, it actually said the BBC in the year of November 23rd, 1963, the year of 1963, that they had basically stopped everything and announced that Kennedy was shot and killed. So, yeah, it was considered the bullet that was felt around the world. It was that tragic for a lot of people. It seems like people don't realize, but what happens in U.S. seems to affect everyone, around the world in some way or matter. I'm trying to look for that part. Yeah, they do mention there was a fire at the Golden Age nursing home, as I mentioned before, in Ohio. I don't know if that really was as was as felt, I really can't say as much as hearing about Kennedy being shot. Again, I think that probably had taken had taken more people's concerns. I mean, I'm not downplaying anything else. Yeah, it says on Fox, this day in history, President John F. K. was assassinated in Dallas. They actually said Kennedy, though. Here is a look at what you need to know about the assassination of President John F. Kennedy on November 22nd, 1963. November 22nd, 1963, in the morning, Kennedy delivered a speech, once again at Fort Worth Chamber of Commerce. And it says, it goes down like a timeline, so it would take quite a while. You can read it on Fox News website. It goes down basically everything that happened on the 22nd of November. Well, actually from November 22nd and on obviously the 23rd, where it was felt and heard around the globe, and goes on from there. Again, today was also would have been the landmark date for the television program, which I think they said I thought they said like 50 some years. So you go from 63 to 2019. I should know this, but you know what? My math is incredibly bad. So, yeah, so we were kind of hoping, like Doctor Who fans like myself, were actually hoping to hear, oh, well, Doctor Who is going to start its new season today on Saturday, but no. It was actually, they did have something, I think I have in my mix of stories, where they're actually, they're going to start on January 1st. Yeah, 56 years. I was going to say 57. I'm glad I didn't guess. So, so Doctor Who will be starting January 1st. They're going to start it early this year. It's kind of weird, like this new director kind of does things differently than every other director who has done or made the program. But I can't say that it's any different with any other director because everyone has taken the Doctor Who in a different direction, so it's nothing new. But, okay, that's everything for tonight. Have a good night. It's Walter from iWalter. I hope you enjoyed the show. No, I'm just kidding. I did actually deliberately this time, try to put up some stories. Did I read all those stories? Absolutely not. There's just like way too many. I was like, what I do is during the course of a week, I find things and I kind of post it up on my Facebook page, and then I make links. And with those links, I look at them at the end of the week, so it kind of piles up, obviously. So, anyway, these aren't in any particular order, these stories. But that was like the main one that I wanted to mention. I should actually level of, or, any similarities in the stories, I should do that. So I'm going to try to go in that direction for now and see how far I can get with it. So one that would pertain to Doctor Who was on Cultbox, where it says Doctor Who showrunner claims series opener will be the biggest episode in the show's history. And he announced that on the 21st. That was 2 days ago. According to a student who attended a question and answer session at Sheffield, looks like Hallam University, Chris Chebnell told the audience that Doctor Who Series 12 opener will be the biggest episode in show's history. Well, you know what, though? This is going to be season, so I apologize again because that's actually season 12 he's talking about. What will be, oh wait, I guess that's right. Let me take that apology back, because it does say it was dated November 21st, 2019. I'm confusing myself because Jodie Whittaker is actually the 13th Doctor Who. So I'm confusing the season with the actor who plays Doctor Who. So she is the 13th Doctor Who, and it will be the 12th season. So I got confused there. Forgive me for a minute. I'm trying to dig through all these stories. Okay, another one from Radio Times with I'm probably really screwing up his name, Chris Chibnall, something like that. You know what? It was easier when the producers had names I could actually pronounce that weren't so kind of odd looking. He basically says he's a new producer. I apologize again. Chibnall says that rumors of his Doctor Who exit are a lie and that it's 100% grade A bullshit. Basically, they just put bull with not the shit, but they gave you the idea what they were trying to say. The series showrunner has rubbished rumors that he's eyeing an exit from the BBC science fiction classic. And they also said that Jodie Whittaker would also, but he is now saying that is not true. He is not leaving, in the near future as they had predicted, which I'm actually happy to see because I hate to say it, I really do. I've said this numerous times. I really do like Jodie Whittaker. I was a little bit on the skeptic side of like, okay, you got a woman playing the part. This is going to definitely destroy this show, and surprisingly, it did not. She is actually really good. In fact, I like her much more than I would have to say about on the new series. I'm not talking about, from Hartnell to McCoy. I'm talking about from Eccleston until now. She has got to be far the best on the new ones. And I really just don't want to see her leave right away. I'd like to see her do quite a few seasons. If she could do up to what Baker did, I would have no problem with that. Tom Baker, because it was two Bakers actually. There was, there was Tom Baker obviously, and then there was Colin Baker, but he got fired. So, boy, I can kind of relate to that one there. Already, I am trying to sift through because most of these, about 90%. Well, actually, all the rest of the stories, with the exception maybe of one or so, are pretty much all in politics. That's why I'm kind of wean them away. Oh, here was an interesting one I had posted or put up for me to read tonight, and it was actually from the Sun. Dr. Evil, David Tennant to play evil serial killer Dennis Nelson, or is it Nielsen, and a new ITV drama coming up. So I think that probably will only be in England, but most of this stuff actually ends up airing in the U.S. as well at the same time. Because you can get stuff like BritBox and check it there. So it's kind of funny, but David Tennant, who played one of the newer Doctor Who's, with the exception of playing Doctor Who, every character he seems to play in almost all of his TV and movie career are actually villains. So, it seems like it's kind of funny because he was like one of the better Doctor Who's. Not as good as Jodie is now, but I'm just saying that. But he was one of the better Doctor Who's from the new series, besides, again, Jodie being number one in my book. So, it says the former Doctor Who and Broadchurch actor leads a strong cast in a 3-part thriller which revisits Dennis Nelson's horrific 5-year killing spree. And I hate to say it, he kind of does look like this serial killer, Tennant, but he's played in some really off-the-wall, really bizarre movies. One of them actually was a horror movie. I don't think it went that far. It was actually in the theaters where he plays some wacko serial killer, David Tennant. And this is no joke, but I actually saw the movie in the same row in the same movie theater with Peter Davison over here where I live in the Valley Forge area, because he was at a comic book convention right down the street from my house, Peter Davison. So that being said, they had David Tennant just put a new movie out, and for those who don't know, David Tennant is the son-in-law of Peter Davison, because Peter Davison has a daughter who is married to David Tennant. Kind of talk about a small world. And by the way, to make another connection, both David Tennant and Jodie Whittaker have now both been Doctor Who's as well in the new series. So they both came from that TV program. Oh, wait. Yeah, I thought she was on that too. I believe she actually... No, I think she was. She was on this show called Broadchurch. So, yeah, there's a lot of ties. Well, I mean, it's a small country. What do you expect, I guess? But they're like my two favorite actors now as Doctor Who. Again, on the new series. Don't get me confused on what I'm saying with, oh, well, they're the best Doctor Who's. Well, they're the best out in the new series. I'm not saying the old one. But yeah, I did see, no joke, I did see Peter Davison actually, and sat next to him practically, the exact same row at the movie theater. My friend Matt and I have been in a million times, and it's the one over in Oaks. So that was kind of weird. I mean, I was like watching this movie with David Tennant. I was like, when I was a kid, I was so obsessed with Peter Davison because I loved that actor so much. I thought he was like the coolest thing since sliced bread. And I was about 12 years old at the time, that I literally had Peter Davison like on a pedestal. Well, actually not 12, because that's when I was watching Tom Baker and the rest, the doctors prior to that. But yeah, I got so obsessed. I was about 17 that, I got really stressed out from my OCD. I used to imagine my bedroom being like the TARDIS, and I would imagine like the person who would take me away from all my ailments would be the doctor, who was at that time, and it's no joke, was Peter Davison. So kind of funny to me, not anybody else. I don't expect it to be either. Let me see. I'm trying to dig through this stuff. And you know what? I'm going to try to do what I always say I'm going to do, and keep this in the time frame as close as possible to 1 hour. There was a story from Digital Spy. Doctor Who boss confirms. When can we expect a Christmas special? Well, you will not. It will be a New Year's Day special. And they did do today. Excuse me about that. They did show a teaser for next season 13 of Doctor Who. Now, it's not technically season 13, but what they actually call it series 13, so I should correct myself there. Series 13 means it's from ground zero of series 1 with Christopher Eccleston until now makes it series 13. That's where they get that number. I should have explained that like in the beginning, which I did not. Oh, well, I got to bookmark this page. So anyway, they were showing some teasers, and I'll tell you, they did an episode with the one dialect in the new series of Doctor Who, and it just blew my mind on New Year's Day of this year, or, this past year. They did one with Jodie Whittaker, and that one was like, I'm telling you, that was the first episode out of the new series of Doctor Who's. That was one that I've actually watched more than once. I was actually watching it the other night, and the reason was because it was that good. The dialect was like, it was one dialect. It was just a squid, because that's what they really look like inside that pile. That's what they made him into. It actually puppeted. It actually it joined itself. It had placed itself on a victim, a human being, and forced human being to build it a new case, as we know what a dialect looks like. And it was made from junk metal scrap. So, I mean, the whole thing was incredibly clever. I love that episode. So, and then that was the New Year's Day special. So I don't expect any less. And I don't think I will be disappointed with this coming. I mean, it's 6 weeks away. It's not a big deal with the new Doctor Who coming up. The new episode. So I am very, very psyched Is it a little bit of a disappointment that they didn't put anything out for, the anniversary date? Slightly, yes. Is it disappointing there's no Christmas Day special? There was no such thing in the past, so I really, honestly could care less. It will be a real treat on New Year's Day. The only problem is I have to go to work the next day, so it's going to kind of cut short, because I'll have to, and honestly, I won't be able to actually view it until the following day because, it's not like PBS where they might have put a special like that on right away. It usually comes to U.S. unless you watch it on commercial TV on the BBC commercial television station. You can watch it right away there, but I prefer to watch it the way I grew up watching Doctor Who without the commercials. Because in England, BBC, you still pay for having a television set in England, and there is no commercials. So I'd like to see it the way it's meant to be shown, not the way the U.S. decides to show it because they can make a profit on those commercials. Oh, and by the way, it seems like that would be pretty nice. HBO might be actually buying the rights for the newer seasons. They're actually investing or have invested money. So that would be actually, you have to pay for it, but you're not talking that much for a short-time subscription to HBO. So if HBO, I'm sure it'll still be shown on BBC America, but HBO had bought the rights to any of the upcoming seasons of Doctor Who. They didn't buy just one, they bought a few. So if you can get it that way, because I've done that in the past with Game of Thrones, where you can just say, oh, wow, I'll just buy a season pass for the next X amount of weeks of HBO and just catch it right off the bat without the commercials. Like what HBO does, like for Game of Thrones, they did this. They put up, they're put up to show the second it's aired on TV. Okay, Game of Thrones put a new episode up. They won't put it up beforehand, but as soon as it's the air date for that particular episode when it was Game of Thrones was meant to be shown, you could right away go onto your paid HBO link and watch it right away, but you could pause it, fast forward it, rewind it. If you had to get up for whatever reason to use the restroom, the bathroom, whatever you want to call it, you could do that. So if they do that with Doctor Who, I am not going to complain. I'll tell you that much. I'll be actually very happy. So, and you know what? I think most of these subscriptions, because anymore there is so many different, it's so competitive for all these cable channels, separated from the cable box, and that you can just stream it. It's become so popular too, that now it's about $6 a month. Now, if you buy a whole bunch of different things, it can get pretty pricey. But if you're only buying one or two for X amount of months, it's really not that bad. So, anyway, that's just my thing. Anyway, I did find this other story on JFK that I was looking for. I didn't realize it was on the irishcentral.com, actually, of all links I never knew existed. Remember JFK, the assassination took place 56 years ago today, and that means pretty much today. On this dark day, November 22nd, 1963, Irish-American President John F. Kennedy, I didn't realize he was Irish, was assassinated in Dallas. On November 22nd, 1963, okay, let's see. I kind of skipped the paragraph, a little tiny one, but I should have not done that. It says, the next thing after the assassination in Dallas, John Fitzgerald Kennedy, the United States' only Catholic president, once said, oh, that's what, I never knew that. So his middle name was Fitzgerald. I didn't know that. I'm serious. Once said, there are three things in life: God, human folly, and laughter. The first two are beyond our comprehension. We must make the best of the third. It goes on to say, then, if I would have read this correctly, On November 22nd of 1963, the laughter died, and not only did for JFK, also for the United States of America. For most baby boomers, there are two dates that stick in their minds on November 22nd, 1963, and September 11th, 2001. They are the two dates that this story from the irishcentral.com has said that sticks in people's minds. And I hate to tell you, I don't think either one does, unfortunately, nowadays. Both moments of unbelievable national tragedy, but maybe the 22nd of 63 was a little tougher because Americans knew the man. He barely won the 1960 election, although the following year, over 60% of Americans said they voted for him, and that would include my mother. You know, it's kind of funny. My mother voted for only two presidents. She's only voted twice. The first time my mother voted was in 1960 for JFK. The second time was in last year. No, not last year. I apologize. The last election. How's that? She voted in the last election for Donald Trump. So she has voted for two people, and it's kind of weird because one was John F. Kennedy and the other one is Trump. Now, Kennedy got shot, and Trump is under scrutiny because the Democrats are so angry that he won that they are trying everything in their power to convince people he needs to be impeached. Now, my thing is, and also many other people that I know believe this is only going to empower Trump to get reelected next year. So what is my concern? Well, my mother only voted twice, and the first person she voted for, it has nothing to do with her, but the first person she voted for was assassinated. And you got somebody who is in office now that the Democrats really do not like. And I think they're kind of afraid, no matter who they put in front of this man, Trump, that they will lose again. So my concern is, I hope my mother, in her whole entire life, she's only voted twice, that the two times she had voted were for two men that got assassinated. That's a really far-stretched, superstitious way of thinking, but I honestly think, I hope I'm wrong. I am kind of digging through the rest of these stories, see what I can find, because I've already actually spent almost a half an hour on these. So, I do have sorry about that. See, the problem is my computer, I try to turn off the speakers, but the speakers are on my monitor, and it doesn't matter what you try, the speakers stay on. There is another story that would kind of appropriately kick off the rest of my stories, and it was by Tim Pool. And Matt, I thank you for sending me that story because it actually kind of helps. Actually, there's one more story that's non-related to politics, and it was from a link from a fanzine web link for Friday the 13th, and it says, Final Friday the 13th rights decision inching towards conclusion. There's been a fight with Cunningham for many, many years because he owns the rights to the franchise of Friday the 13th. And even though there is been fights on, because the franchise has been very successful for many decades, when push comes to shove, it always will go back to Sean Cunningham. I met the man in person. I actually freaked him out, so that's pretty bad. Let's see. Oh yeah, there was another thing that was kind of funny. Somebody posted this this icon, apt, a meme, whatever you want to call it, on Facebook, and it's got one of these sweatshops in Asia to make Nike sneakers, and it's all underage, mostly women. And it says, just so I'm clear, these factory workers, which are 80% female, are making Nikes for 20 cents an hour and working 78 to 80 hours a week. Now, that's today's times. This isn't like, and I hate to tell you, Nike will charge you for those shoes hundreds of dollars per shoe. Not for a bunch of them, per shoe. So Nike can profit enough to pay Colin Kaepernick millions to speak out against oppression and injustice. Basically, yeah, I mean, I'm a hypocrite because I like Nike shoes. But, you know, it is, you know, they still have a sweatshop in that country. You know, they treat people, especially females, as, you know, third-class citizens, not even second-rate citizens or second-class, but third-rate citizens. And they're basically slaves working on numerous hours for pennies and then charging hundreds of dollars and making billions on their shoes. And it's funny because, I hate to say it, but it's a lot of minorities, and myself would be included, I guess, on that because I buy the shoes, that buy those sneakers. You know, they go gun-ho over those, and they will buy those. They will camp out and buy these sneakers that could run anywhere to, well, if you go in and also include those Nike mags from Back to the Future that were custom made to, fundraise money for Michael J. Fox, those costs, base model is about $10,000 for one pair of shoes. They actually go up to about $50,000 for a pair of sneakers. But average Nikes can cost average between $500 to $1,000 a pair, and yet they got these Asian women and children, all females, that 90% of them are 80%, whatever it said, what I just mentioned, working for only pennies a week, actually. Anyway, I think the thing that kind of stirred me initially, what I was going to use as a thing for my podcast, and I keep on looking over to make sure I keep within an hour, is what Matt had sent to me today, and I did listen to it while I was getting ready, and it was by Tim Pool, and it's like, leftists get vasectomies over climate change fears. Conservatives will win if liberals don't have kids. Well, that's great. That's great that he titled that. But Tim Pool actually then said, he also gave the input that even though and other countries are running the same issue, where whoever the left is from that country, but he was mainly focusing on the U.S. Maybe it's me taking it to the next step. We're the people, since we have a low birth rate, because England had this problem, Germany has this problem, a lot of countries are having this problem, low birth rate. The issue here is you have people that are coming in from other countries. Now, Tim Pool said that, well, it's going to be people from other countries that are basically think more conservatively, and probably, well, he said they will vote for Republicans because they like the conservative ways. They are religious people. Well, that's not the case. What is moving into these countries and into the United States mostly are more Muslim-based. I mean, we got tons of folks where I work now that are Indian, and they are Muslims. They believe in being they believe not in Christianity. They believe in the Muslim belief. So, I hate to tell Tim Pool this. I think a majority of these people and the issues we're having in the United States isn't because we're getting an onslaught of Christians and conservative thinking people, we're having people who are moving in this country because they know they can benefit from welfare and are more of the Muslim belief. So, that being said, there was a story, that kind of fit what I was thinking. And I am trying to look for that right now carefully without opening, which it will happen anyway, no matter how much I try not to. On something with like welfare and stuff, and it actually nailed that. And I don't even want to use the word gentleman, but this person from another country who has 12 wives and 24 kids, or I think it was 12 wives. No, it was 4 wives, I think. So, that kind of proves my point more so. Let me get rid of this Friday the 13th one now. Wow, I must have shut that down. Just makes it that much more difficult for me to go through these stories if I can't find it. But the bottom line was, I will try to keep this going as I am looking for that story. Why is this doing this to me? I have no clue. So, yeah, there's a lot of dead space here, folks, and it's not what I intended. So, somehow the story that I had posted, I can't find now. I actually opened it up before I started the show, and it's no longer there. So I must have accidentally hit the shutdown button, or because this has happened before too, where Facebook sees something they don't like, they basically will also shut it down themselves. Because there was 2 stories I opened, and I don't see either one now. So, what I do to cover my butt when this happens, I also do send it. Yeah, I think it got pulled. Believe it or not, yeah, the story got pulled. So that being said, what I do is I also send a link to people. I can't believe they did that. Damn it. It's not the first time either. So thank God I cover my butt in numerous ways. Yeah, that is really strange. I want to pause this for a minute, but I am gung-ho on finding this story, so give me a minute. I'm going to cut out a couple stories because of this interruption. Yeah, that is really strange. There was a story, that was I had posted, and it's no longer there. That basically had, because I got one on the pedophile grooming gang. One on Hillary Clinton shutting down a pedophilia link, one on Pennsylvania, and some other things. But that particular one is gone. The one where there was a Muslim man married to, had multiple wives. It just literally just disappeared. So that's kind of strange. I might just, in the next moment, I might be forced to have, I have no choice to just shut this down for a second and see if I can find it. And in fact, I might do that now. Okay, hey, I'm back. Yeah, people probably don't know. The pause is going to stay in there because otherwise people won't know. Yeah, that story was actually taken off my Facebook page. I posted it on Facebook and Twitter, and the story was removed. I wish I was joking. It's from Frontline. It's called Frontlines News. And yeah, I found the story. I had to do some digging because usually what I do is I also text the stories to people that I know. So this story was removed from Facebook. So if Facebook doesn't like what you're posting, they just automatically take it down. And generally it's stuff that would be from a conservative point of view. So this was really good. Again, it's from frontlines.slash news.com, and it's titled, Pissed Off Yet. Syrian man with 4 wives and 22 kids gets $36,000 a year in welfare. Now, that doesn't seem like an awful lot of money, and it really isn't. But it's a story you definitely need to check out. First of all, you shouldn't be here and here if he's, well, excuse me for a minute, because I'm really pissed off now myself, just the fact that the story was removed. And I'm not just saying that, it really was taken down. First of all, he shouldn't be here in the first place if he's healthy enough to make babies and wives too. This is what the story says. They are healthy enough to work, but he's not working at all. That's the point of the story. Only one wife is allowed in this country. You all need to be shipped out as quickly as possible. Basically, the person who wrote this article says he shouldn't have 4 wives, but the 4 wives are in this country. They should be 3 of them should be removed. Anger is growing among U.S. citizens. They are outraged by the recent exposure of the consequences of a Muslim immigration, because it turns out they have to pay a fortune in Social Security assistance to Syrian immigrants, I apologize, that are living in the United States. We have many cases in Europe, too, with an explanation point. So this is what this story is saying, even though I'm like butchering the death out of it. In Denmark, where a Syrian man with 3 wives and 20 kids gets in DKK, I don't know what that stands for, Dutch marks, 214,000, whatever it is, Dutch marks or whatever, and child benefits, which caused outrage in Denmark and proposals for changing the law. So it goes on how, this is what I try to point out. This is why, Matt, if you hear this and say, well, I can't make heads or tails out what you're trying to mention, in fact, I will do it right now directly to you, Matt. I will send you the link, because I did send this, actually, that's amazing, too. I do distinctly remember sending it to you and Ed, and I also sent it to Todd, but for some reason, the link to you and Ed did not go through. So that one might have been my screw-up, but the one on Facebook, yeah, I've heard. In fact, there was an article I had posted on Facebook, and Todd said, yeah, they removed your article because it did not approve under Facebook rules. And, you know, my articles are generally 100% of the time, at least 99% of the time, pertain to the same thing. And that's politics. So, yeah, that's a no-no. And if the politics is not on the Democrat side, you're not going to get anything at all. So it looks like it's continuing where I left off, so I'm kind of glad about that. So you're going to hear, obviously, a dead spot, but I just wanted to let you know. Yeah, so, you know, I just had to kind of prove Tim Pool wrong. Now, Matt's going to say, well, you didn't prove him wrong. He's still correct. You just only looked at one article, but trust me, there's plenty of other articles. I'm not going to, like, dig them all up. I just don't have that kind of patience. I really don't, Matt. There was one I started reading, I believe, before all this nonsense of the story being pulled down from freespeechtime.com. We're leaving refugees. We were leaving. Refugees are outraged after Denmark cuts welfare benefits. I think that's funny, actually. Denmark cracks down on immigration. As you can see in the video below, there is a video on this link. Migrants are threatened to leave Denmark after the cut in their welfare payments by half. The Danish economy cannot provide free housing. This is what they're getting right now. This is what I'm trying to say. It's not only happening in Denmark or other countries. It's happening here in this country. Trust me. Threatened to leave, like I read that already. The Danish economy cannot provide free housing, food, and welfare benefits to millions of illegal immigrants from all over the Middle East, Asia, and Africa. So the thing was, there was some story, I don't know if I will be able to find it or pull it up, in this country where people are living in the streets that are military vets, but yet you're catering to these migrants as though they deserve all this stuff. They have not contributed anything to this country besides just aggravation and other things. They think they have not contributed to this country at all. And besides having tons of babies and having multiple wives, that's the only thing. If you call that a contribution, kind of sign me up for that too, because I want to join in on that bandwagon, because that's exactly all they're doing. They're not doing anything to benefit the country. They're costing us millions of dollars, if not more. Anyway, that link I sent to Matt, I just had sent to myself as well, because I will guarantee you before the show is done being broadcast, because I'm going to try to stop in about 15 minutes, it's going to be pulled again. I guarantee you, without a doubt. So, unfortunately, I'm not going to get to everything that I wanted to get through, unless I just do one of those quick read-throughs, which I've done before, and just add an extra 10 minutes on to the show. But either way, it's really sad with that situation. I am posting a story that says Iran slaughters hundreds of protesters. EU is silent to maintain a nuclear deal, and they show where they basically severed this guy's head off. So this is what we deal with to continue our regime on political correctness. We got to be politically correct. Well, you're allowing all these people in this country that are very, very dangerous. Anyway, because I'm trying to do these in some sort of order. I'm not doing a very good job. Oh yeah, by the way, this is funny. For once, the Cube News, there's a website I never heard of before called the Cube News. Walmart loses $1.2 billion in one day after banning guns. That's an older story, but I think it's freaking hilarious. CollectiveEvolution.com, United Nations peacekeepers caught running a child sex ring, 2,000 plus cases of sexual abuse. Every single year, pedophiles, sexual abuse, and sex trafficking rates increase. The International Labor Organization estimates that there are 20.9 million human trafficking victims worldwide and 4.5 million people trapped in forced sex trafficking around the globe. At least 100,000 children are prostituted annually in the U.S. That's in the U.S. alone, adding to the 9.8 billion U.S. sex trafficking into the sex trafficking industry. That makes sense. Anyway, to clarify this is on CollectiveEvolution.com, and I have it posted on my Facebook page, I believe, too. This one I'm not going to skip. I'm going to read this, give you an idea about this one. And I have to thank Todd for this one. Story from back on January 23rd, which I'm surprised this diverted my attention, states that Pennsylvania has the worst drivers in America. So that's pretty funny. We asked our listeners about Pennsylvania drivers, and here's what they had to say. And it was nothing good. Worst drivers on 70 every morning. Let's see. Pennsylvania is real bad for driving. Oh, my God. Everyone in Pennsylvania drives a mile or two under the speed limit or 25 miles above. Nothing in between. And the parking lots, oh, God, it's horrible. That's what these people are writing. I think the problem is people don't realize a lot of these people aren't originally from Pennsylvania, but they move here because they're Democrats who had raised the taxes so freaking high in their area that now they live in Pennsylvania. Come on, let's face up to it. And what do? The first thing they do is they vote Democrat in this area, changing this into a blue state. And the problem with that is our taxes are going through the roof. Not right now at this moment, but they are slowly. If you look deep enough, you will find that taxes are going up in these areas. And it doesn't surprise me because this area is, in my mind, is like a sanctuary city, meaning Norristown as being the one that sticks into my mind. Alrighty, it was another story I must have shut down or, again, must have been pulled. And you know why this time? Because it was about finding 200 and some, 300 driver's license that, here we go. Thank God they didn't pull this one yet. Lex 18, that's the name of the station. Where is that from? 200 plus fake IDs found in a package in Louisville, Kentucky. U.S. Customs and Border Patrol has seized more than 200 fake identification cards that were found packaged in Louisville. So now I know where it came from. It came from Louisville. Yeah, and you know what? You can say, well, you know what? Those fake IDs, they generally go to underage kids who want to drink. Nah, I'd like to think that myself, but honestly, I seriously doubt it. I think they go to a lot of illegal immigrants. Come on, let's face it. You gotta face up to the truth sometime, folks. Did I read this one, or it's just the same storyline? I did read something about it. Neon Nettle is the name of the web link, .com. Pedophile grooming gang receives over $1 million in legal aid to fight deportation. The pedophiles who rape children as young as 13 are now receiving taxpayer money. So, this is not in the U.S. I think this is in England. But still, this stuff, if it doesn't happen here yet, it will. Members of the pedophile Asian grooming gang responsible for trafficking children for sex in the UK have received over $1 million in legal aid to help them defend criminal charges and fight deportation. And not one of these faces, they have mugshots of the people involved, not one of them look like they're from Asia. They look like they're from the Middle East. So I'm just letting you know. Despite the sick and deprived nature of their crimes, the pedophile is using Article 8 of the European Convention of Human Rights, which safeguards their right to family life. Makes no sense to me at all. The pedophile grooming gang who rape, abuse, and torture countless young children claim being removed from the UK will harm their families. According to the Daily Mail, Shaybar Hamid, 64, the ringleader. That's a real Asian name, by the way. Ahmed. It's Ahmed, because I can't pronounce it correctly. Of Rodale child sex gang. Abdul Aziz, Adil Khan, and Abdul Rafael, whatever, Ralph. It's R-A-U-F, because I can't pronounce that for the life of me. All received hundreds of thousands of pounds in legal aid at their original trial. And it goes on. And it's so disgusting that this stuff is going on, I wish not to read anymore. In this country, though, you got idiots like Michael Moore. There's an article from PJ Media. Michael Moore, I am the center, I am the mainstream, and now of the Democratic Party. Well, good luck with that one, you fat blob. Neon Nettle has another one. Pelosi, AOC, Omar, AOC as well. Yeah, AOC, they have it down, or Omar. That woman that's a Muslim who is in one of the places of power in the Democratic Party, which again, I'm just another name that's not, I'm not be able to pronounce correctly. Says that their districts rank worst sanctuary cities in America. Districts represented by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Representative AOC, and Representative Ian Omar. Is it Ian Omar? I know I got that completely wrong. Matt, you will correct me. Have been ranked the worst sanctuary cities in America according to the new data by the Immigration Reform Law Institute. So there's an article on that. So these women who are supporting these cities, which they themselves refuse to live in, are considered the most, well, basically the most dangerous, but also the worst sanctuary cities. They're like, they're slums. Another one, wow, there's a lot from this Neon Nettle or whatever it is. Jamie Lee Curtis attacks Trump for killing ISIS leader. All living things suffer. Liberal actress Jamie Lee Curtis has lashed out at President Donald Trump in a bizarre rant over killing ISIS leader Abu Bakr whatever. Wow, that one is, forget it. So, yeah, I think it's time we need to really just boycott anything that Jamie Lee Curtis would ever act in ever again. On a more uplifting note, I am watching the time because I only got 4 minutes left from that mess up. Company gives all employees a handgun for Christmas. I wish they would do that at my job. And this is in Hortonville, Wisconsin. So that's pretty cool. They gave everybody, they gave them guns. That's actually pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah, it says Q13 Fox. Ben Shot, a Wisconsin glass-making company, gave their employees handguns for Christmas. That is actually sweet. Since I am running out of time, man attempts to shoplift from Wegmans by shoving steaks, razors in his pants. William Adams, 52, left, and Doris Olami, or whatever. It's another one of these kind of Muslim-type names. From Montgomery Township, 2 men from Philadelphia were facing felony theft charges in connection with an incident that occurred at a Wegmans food market in Montgomery Township last week. Well, there is a new place around where I live. I don't know if that's where it was. According to the criminal complaint, Montgomery County Township Police responded to a theft progress at 9:17 p.m. on November 14th along the 800 block of Bethlehem Pike. Upon arrival, police spoke with Wegman's assistant protection specialist, who stated that the two male suspects, later identified as 52-year-old William Adams and 52-year-old Doris, whatever. I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that name. It says the total value of stolen merchandise was equal to $853.60. I was actually more concerned after reading that segment, about the 60 cents. Both men are being held on a bail of $20,000. And this was on North Penn Now web link. So I actually did run out of time. There's a funny story from Tea Party 247, and it's titled, Watch Tolerant Liberal Student Have an Epic Meltdown on a California Campus. It is actually worth watching. So check out a web link called teaparty247.org, because it's worth checking out. Limerick roars for its Spring City, PA patch. Whoa, that's a mouthful. Has something Smoking age is going up. Yes, it's going to go up to age 21 now. So I really don't have a problem with that. I actually do not have a problem at all if they would raise the age factor to the age of 21. I think that's actually, it's not going to stop underage smoking, because it's like the same thing as saying, oh yeah, that's going to also stop underage drinking. No, it's not. It's not going to do anything, but it's just, you at least put something down that might put some fear into maybe a couple people, I guess. I have a story from Westchester man facing charges. This is from North Penn Patch 2, or North Penn Now. I am actually after an hour. Westchester man facing charges after he allegedly broke into a vehicle on the 2400 block of Schoolhouse Road in Hatfield Township. I think this is a person that's been breaking into numerous cars within this area, Norristown, and because Hatfield's not that far. Yeah, there was a story I had, because it is after the hour. I really do want to round this up. Bill Clinton pictured with multiple pedophiles, Tony Pasanda and George Nader, at some party. This is the gang. I like to think of it like the Gang of Eight. There's actually only 5 people there, but that gang of people that were in this whole pedophile ring, and Clinton being there as well. It was from, it looks like steemit.com or something. It's spelled STEEEMIT, steemit.com. And there was this story that somebody had posted on Clinton, him being part of that pedophile ring. There's been here's another chain of stories, but here's another one. It's like the third one I've read in a row from North Penn Now. Intoxicated road rage suspect arrested after banishing handgun in Warrenton Township. Philadelphia man is facing more than a dozen charges stemming from a road rage incident in Warrenton Township last Thursday afternoon. Dispatched to an area. It would happen, actually, it says on Route 611 and Shelland Drive at 5:41 p.m. So that's like coming home from work time on November 14th for a report of a driver being very aggressive and pointing a handgun at other drivers on the road. Warrenton police said radioed the description of the vehicle to surrounding townships, which led to the vehicle eventually being located and stopped in Doylestown Township. The driver was identified as a 28-year-old Maurice White, Marcus White. I'm sorry, Marcus White. And his vehicle were positively identified in the scene of the traffic stop, and he then was taken into custody and reported. The report states police said also allegedly recovered the handgun from the inside White's vehicle. So yeah, he was pointing a gun at people, road rage, and I do see that an awful lot anymore. Alrighty, yeah, this is not going any quicker for me, so I apologize. Anyway, New York Times, there was a story. It says brain-eating amoeba found in Louisiana drinking water. So yeah, that's pretty scary. A potentially dead brain-eating amoeba. Amoeba, is that how you say it? Amoeba. There's little, kind of like a single cell thing. Parasite, whatever you want to call it, has been detected in Louisiana neighborhoods drinking water. That's pretty scary. Todd had sent this story to me. I believe it was today. So it was from his neck. Well, it says New York whatever.com. But New York, CBS News, New York, mall brawl breaks out after 1,000 teens show up following a half day of school. They went from a half day of school to wreaking havoc at a mall nearly shutting it down. Police say around 1,000 students caused a massive disruption at the Queen Center Mall Friday afternoon, and at least one person was beaten and robbed. That's really scary. I mean, I hate to say it around here. I just see kids on the road and everywhere every single day. Like, I don't even know if they know what school looks like, and if they're out of school, I don't think they know what a job looks like either. If they were like 18 or 19, they just graduated from high school. I don't think they continue not to work. I really got to speed this up. There was a story that I actually did post because I thought it was pretty cool. I didn't read the whole thing, and I really don't have time. It was a story that says student nominated for homecoming queen as a prank fights back and defeats her bullies. Teenage years can be extremely difficult. The pressure of the cliches, bullies, and school work can be a terrible combination for a 16-year-old Whitney Crope. High school wasn't exactly an easy breeze for her. Then she found out that she has been nominated for homecoming queen. She saw a beacon of light. Whitney was beyond flattered to receive the nomination, as she always felt like she didn't fit into with her peers. She only had a few close friends, so she was a bit confused by the nomination, but she, of course, could not complain. Whitney would soon find out that the nomination was not what she thought it was. And it goes on a different page. So obviously they set this girl up, and it was just a way of, kind of doing a Carrie on her, the movie Carrie, of making an ass out of her. And I believe what happened is that she turned that table around, so. One story I saw today, which is interesting because me and my friend Todd complain about this all the time. And if this goes any longer, it's gonna be way too long, this tonight's show. Was CBS News Philadelphia. New Jersey woman convicted in texting while driving case. Well, I know this story. I might have mentioned it before. She initially said that she was innocent. She's busy texting this woman, and she runs over somebody walking across the street in a pedestrian walkway, is what I remember. And then she said, I was innocent. I this is not my fault. It's like, well, you ran over somebody because you were too busy with your head in your phone. I see this. My friend Todd sees it every single day, like when we're driving. And it's generally women that are doing this. They have their head buried in their phone. It's like, you got to put these ladies, you got to put your phones down. No offense. Freehold, New Jersey is where this happened. A New Jersey woman has been convicted of vehicle, I never can say that word right, vehicle homicide in the death of a pedestrian that prosecutors said occurred as the driver was texting. An accusation the defendant denied on the stand. Mammoth County prosecutor said 50-year-old Alexandra Mancetti rear-ended another car that struck a 39-year-old Wan Yang as she was crossing. I got that name completely wrong, probably. But was crossing the street in Hazlitt in September 2016. Wang was her last name. I apologize for laughing. Died 5 days later. Yeah, 5 years is a awful long time. 5 days later, prosecutors argued that Mancetti was distracted by a text about dinner plans in New York City. Mancetti said she read the message before leaving, so she's denying that she actually hit somebody. She said that she was looking down to turn on her rear defogger before striking the car. Prosecutors questioned why the text was answered, although the letter M and the letter E were typed. Defense attorney Stephen Altman said he was disappointed by the verdict. So she's claiming her innocence still, this woman, and she said, I do not answer that text, but yet there was a response message. So that kind of makes you question. But it seems like she lost the case, is what I'm gathering. Really quick, because I got all these stories. I don't know why I need to go through all these. Suspected felony laying gang member arrested by Hatfield Township Police. Hatfield Township Police have announced the arrest of a suspect felony laying gang member following an investigation into an incident that began at Harleysville Bank on Cowpath Road last month. Cowpath Road wasn't that far from where I used to work. According to the criminal complaint, police were dispatched to the 1500 block of Cowpath Road on October 21st, blah, blah, blah. The suspicious person, the bank manager, informed police that a white female in a light-colored SUV was attempting to cash a check, but she did not look like the woman on the identification provided, and they believe the woman may have been a member of the felony Lane gang. So, anyway, yeah, that's a story I just kind of threw up there. So I'm trying to be really careful. This was interesting, and I am going to round this up. This just happened on Monday. Daughter killed parents, then herself in Monco home. Authorities have released the cause of the death for the bodies found inside Montgomery County home on Monday. So the story was actually concluded. They came up with, I guess, the autopsy results, I think just on Friday. Springfield Township, PA, a Montgomery County woman killed both her parents before killing herself. The bodies of Robert and Shella, both 71 years old, were found inside their home near their daughter Julia, 27, on Monday. Circumstances leading up to the tragedy remain unclear. I thought this was initially mentioned on Monday, but then they concluded. I thought they concluded. Apparently, maybe they did not. Just yesterday, or now I should just say Friday, because it is now yesterday. Would have been. It is still Saturday my time, but either way, it happened on Friday. Both the father and mother died of a stab wound to the neck and a blunt impact injury to, basically the father died from a stab wound to the neck and a blunt impact injury to his head. I thought it was the same thing for the mother. The mother then, okay. Yeah, okay. The mother also suffered a wound to her neck as well as multiple injuries to her head, according to the coroner's office, what they came up with. So maybe this is really confusing, because one part it says that it's still under investigation, but it looks like they did come up with the conclusion. But anyway, the girl then also stabbed herself in the neck, authorities said. That's pretty brutal. So to kind of clarify this girl, I don't know what her problem was, but she stabbed the father in the neck and must have hit him too, numerous times, and then also did the same thing to the mother. And then she stabbed herself also in the neck, which is kind of weird because, again, you generally don't hear about brutal suicide or homicides from women. You usually hear that from men. Women are a little bit, I always thought the opposite. I guess not. Anyway, this is getting extremely long and extremely confusing for people to listen in on. Man accused of shooting at officer in Jersey Township captured at Penn Station in New York City. Now, it's amazing because I always make this comment that the people that are causing the havoc around here are generally from Jersey and New York, and I kind of get shot down, but then the results end up being kind of truthful. Because this was on Channel 10 News. And, for folks who don't know, Channel 10 News is in Philadelphia. So, just letting you know. And the story is about this. Even though the incident happened in Jersey. The suspect who has not been yet identified was captured at Penn Station, New York City. The man accused of shooting at an officer in a small New Jersey town, sparking lockdowns and massive manhunt, is now in custody. And they do give his name, and I don't know how to say this, but it's one of these foreign kind of, I guess, Hispanic type names. Manuel Angel Villegas or something. I don't even know how. What happened to the simple names from the past? But the bottom line is, this guy tried to shoot at a cop. He tried to kill a cop. Or he did. I just shut down that story. Another interesting story. It's also from, it says Jersey, but it's from, it was mentioned on the Philadelphia News because this time it's Channel 3 in Philadelphia. Several suspects allegedly involved in deadly shooting of a 10-year-old boy at Pleasantville High School football game appeared in court. But they said this is Pleasantville is in Jersey, I believe. But it involved the shooting of a 10-year-old boy. So, you know what? That's about it for tonight because I've probably bored everybody to tears at this point. But I just kind of recap. I apologize for such a messed up podcast. But I think the first part was pretty good. And, it's just interesting that what kind of would have sparked tonight's show. I even had a little picture for my, the title of my podcast tonight, which is not going to be used anymore, is that, I hear this from Tim Pool that, hey, this might be good news because we could win almost every state. For us conservatives, we should be happy that this is good news because, liberals and Democrats no longer want to reproduce. They don't want to have children. But the downside of that is that then you get more, me playing the devil's advocate, you're getting more of these migrants and illegal immigrants and Muslim-type people. Oh, that's a bad thing to say, but let me finish out. Who only want to basically genocide anyone else who does not believe or have the same beliefs as you and I would. Or myself and my friends do. How's that? Who are more on a conservative way of thinking, or even, want to keep the right of to practice our religious beliefs alive. Well, the Muslim belief is to believe in what they believe in, and if you do not, then you shouldn't live. You should be killed. You should be executed. So I don't know why people can't understand that this is a really serious problem, because they don't see it. That's the problem. They do not see it. Anyway, this is Walter from iWalter, and since the show is almost an hour and a half, have a good night. Just remember that November 23rd is 22nd of November 1963 was when our president John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and the 23rd is when that shot was felt around the world. The gunshot was felt around the world. Have a good night, and hope to see you again. Not see you physically, but hope that you will tune in again. How's that? Have a good night.